Well, we are going to be discussing that in just a moment with a US politics expert. Let's just take a look right now at the scene in the lower house, the House of Representatives. They are debating it. I have lost track of the number of times we have used the phrase fiscal cliff in the last few days, but that's what's under discussion, like it or otherwise. There are potentially many more hours of debate to come. That's the scene there in the House of Representatives. Let's talk, as promised, to Dr. James Boyes, who's who's the visiting senior research fellow, I should say now, at King's College London. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Jane, good to see
you. We talk about the economics of all of this for obvious reasons, but actually this is a fight between two parties who still simply are not agreeing.
It is, and you'll know from your own time in Washington that politics is about perception. And here you've got the White House, which is basically trying to stick to its own guns, the House of Representatives sticking to its own guns, and yet it looks like it could be the Senate that ends up fixing all this, because there's some news breaking overnight that Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader, has been in talks with Joe Biden, former senator from Delaware, and it could be that those two old hands come together effectively to try and dig a way out of this. It's a face-saving exercise for both sides.
Because President Obama has been saying Republicans need to step up to the plate here. You're the ones who are going to damage potentially millions of Americans. Now, he would say that, wouldn't he? They're the opposite party. However, is there any school of thought within the Republican Party, as much as it's cohesive, that says, do you know what, if we don't do something here, we could look like the bad guys. We could have the finger pointed at us.
Senator Lindsey Graham overnight also said it looks like Obama's winning this and has won this in terms of the perception issue, because of this idea that if it all goes through, it'll be Republicans who get tarred with increasing taxes on all Americans by 5%. You were talking about the cohesiveness there. A week or so ago, Senator Boehner, the Senate Majority Leader, tried to, the Speaker of the House, tried to get Republicans to come together to agree to increase taxes only on Americans earning over $1 million, and he couldn't even get that through. Now we're looking at perhaps a deal that would increase taxes on Americans earning somewhere around $400,000, which is substantially less than $1 million, but more than the figure of $250,000 that the President has talked about.
And politically, it's so interesting, because this stalemate, if you like, has typified everything we've seen for the last 4 years. You know, someone might watch this and think, well, it's Obama's last term, you know, surely he can do a deal. But it's not that simple. They still have to look to the midterm elections, and that plays into what they decide.
Well, certainly for the last 2 years. The reason we're where we are now is because you have a president who's a Democrat and a Republican House of Congress in the House of Representatives who had a single target of making Obama a one-term president. They failed at doing that. The reason we are where we are now is because this idea of a fiscal cliff, this packages came in by the super committee some 18 months ago, saying if you can't bang your heads together to get this sorted out, this is the risk you run. No, never thinking, I don't think, that we'd end up literally at the last day in the last hour. But here we are. We can end up with a 9% cut in the Pentagon budget. You know how important that would be to the United States and its military and the whole role of Obama as Commander-in-Chief.
It's huge, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We may well be discussing this tomorrow and the next day. And the next day, so we will see you again over the course of the week, I'm quite sure. Thank you very much, Dr. James Boyes from King's College London. Thank you very much. And there is even more besides on the BBC News website, if you can bear it, bbc.co.uk/news. We will, of course, be keeping an eye on that. That debate proper gets underway fairly soon, obviously a 5-hour time difference with Washington, but that debate more than likely, as you will have gathered there, to continue long into the evening, if not beyond. So we will keep an eye on that very important debate and discussions.